guys, Tracy here with another layout using the Rock Lobster Scraptastic Kit, and I'm also going to use bits from the Out on the Town add-on. So first I'm going to cut up some of the bingo cards from the Simple Stories I Heart Summer line that came in the kit. And I'm just kind of taking out anything and putting it aside that I think might work with the layout that I don't really have anything in mind at this point. As you can see, I don't have many full pieces of patterned paper left. I have mostly cardstock, so I'm going into the Out on the Town add-on and I'm going to pick some of the patterned paper from that just to get me through another layout. So this is a combination of both kits. That blue chevron is from the Out on the Town kit, and the arrow paper is also from the Out on the Town kit, but I'm not going to end up using that. So this yellow cardstock that came in the Out on the Town kit is going to be my background. First, I'm going to frame the background in this chevron paper. And so I had to cut down my cardstock a little bit. And now I'm going to cut out the middle of this just because I am getting down to the last little bits of scraps. And so I might make another layout with these kits. And so I wanted to save myself a bit of pattern paper. So I cut out the middle, and now I'm going to do some masking and some misting on the yellow cardstock. And I just picked up this mask from my local scrapbooking shop. And so I'm going to pick out a couple of mist colors that coordinate with the colors that I have picked out in the papers. So I started off with Mint by Heidi Swapp and Gold from Heidi Swapp. Thought about adding some red, but I think I'm going to go with another color of green. So I went with Seafoam. So there will be a darker green and a lighter green. They're almost the same. It's just going to make a subtle difference. And I kind of went overboard. My initial thought here was to just do a bit of misting in the background, and I would have left it at this, except then I had so much fun misting and blotting and misting and blotting that I just kind of kept on going. And I love the addition of the gold. It just adds a really nice shimmery golden effect around the edges. So I put the colors mostly in the middle and made the gold go mostly on the outside. I'm just going to use my heat gun. The Heidi Swapp Color Shine dries super fast on basil cardstock, and the Mr. Huey's a little bit less, but it still dries quite nicely. Then I decided to do a little bit of splotching with, or I guess splattering, with white calico. No, it's called Opaque White by Mr. Huey's. White calico, I don't know what I was thinking there. And so I'm just blotting it to help it dry quicker. That white is notorious for taking a long time to dry. And then at the last minute I decided to add a bit of navy blue. I just sprinkled it really carefully because I didn't want to be bothered with getting out my cake box again. That's an old cake box that I use for my misting. It was my daughter's birthday cake, I think when she turned 4 or 5, and it didn't get any icing at all on the cake box. It was completely pristine after the party, so I just grabbed it for misting. And of course I ran out of ATG refill here, so I stopped the camera to change that. If you want to know how to change your ATG roll, I do have a video that walks you through it step by step. It's further back in my channel, and I think it's on my blog under Scrapbooking Resources. And the link to my blog is always in the information section of the video. So I want to use these chevrons, but I'm not too sure exactly how I'm going to use them. I'd love to use that arrow paper, but I'm not going to end up finding a way to do that. So I'm pulling out the pieces. I'm going to start with those bingo cards, which are sort of coming together nicely on their own. So I'll start with that and adding a third, which is not a bingo card. It's a piece of Simple Stories paper from the I Heart Summer collection. It's that newsprint paper. And now I'm going to cut out the red chevron from this paper. This is from the crepe paper collection called The Pier, one of my favorite collections that I didn't buy, but luckily it's come in lots of kits, and then I did buy a couple of extra pieces of it as well. So it was one of those things I could get by without buying a collection pack and still enjoy the paper, so that was nice. What am I doing now? I'm going to cut out that camera for nothing because I'm going to end up not using it. I had to cut apart those flip-flops because I'm going to use those on another layout. I wanted to use that summer fun this way, but I just couldn't figure out how to use it on this layout. So here I am, I'm fussy cutting around the camera. Again, I keep my elbow tucked into my body and I keep the scissors still and move the paper to do that. And here I decided that the camera that was on the sticker pack, it's the exact same camera, it's also from Simple Stories, was a little bit better scale. It was a little bit smaller so it didn't cover up so much of that chevron, and also it had brighter colors on it than the cardstock cutout one did. I'm going to put a little heart brad in the center of that heart. No, it's a star brad. I was going to put a heart brad, but then I put a star instead. And I'm just floating that sticker up on pop dots, so it won't stick to my page right away, and also it'll pop it up off the page. I'm going to cut out these words that came on another 3x4 card in the cut-aparts from Simple Stories I Heart Summer Collection. And so far, all of this stuff came in the kit, except for the mask and the mists. Came in one of the kits. I'm using two. Well, I'm sort of using one and three. I'm using the Rock Lobster kit, the Rock Lobster add-on, and the Out on the Town add-on. I can't remember if I said that at the beginning. So I'm just pulling in more and more of the cutouts from the Rock Lobster kit. It came with a number of cutouts, and I cut apart all of the Ellie Studio and all the Ormolu cut aparts that came with it. I cut them apart the very first day I got the kit, and so at this point I don't have a lot of pattern paper on this layout, but I have lots and lots and lots of embellishments. And so this is sort of the opposite of the last layout I did, which had lots of pattern paper and hardly any embellishments. So this is a fun layout to do with your scraps because it gives you a chance to use up some of those pretty embellishments that are still left in the kit, and you don't really need that much pattern paper. So now I had to take everything off so that I could start gluing things together. And I just want the photos to layer over those bingo cards in a way that's going to look nice. And I also want them to layer over one another. I'm going to end up moving it up a little bit in a second when I realize that I don't have enough space below for my chevron I don't want the chevron to cover up that much of the beach. So I'm going to move it up a little tiny bit, move that bottom photo up a little bit so it overlaps the top one more, and that gives me more room for the chevron to overlap but not cover up so much of the sand. I'm going to outline this frame. This is from Ellie's Studio and it came in the Rock Lobster kit, and I forgot to outline the inside of it, so you'll see me in a few minutes do that. I'm going to glue that chevron in place and trim off the extra, and thinking about using some stamps. And now I'm going to work with my contrary little sewing machine. My sewing machine was not happy with me today. So the thread kept breaking, and I didn't include that in the video because it looks like I did include some of it. Eventually I turned off the video because it was getting frustrating for me and probably for you to watch. I had to change my needle because my needle was quite sticky, and so I thought that the thread was getting stuck on the needle and breaking for that reason. I changed the needle and the thread kept on breaking, so then I decreased the thread tension, and that seemed to help me at least be able to finish sewing on this layout. So I think I'm going to need to send my little sewing machine in for a little checkup. It probably just needs to be cleaned and greased inside. I'm hoping that they can do that with this kind of a machine because it is a half-size machine and you can't easily open up and look inside of it like you can with the other kinds of sewing machines. So hopefully somebody else can do that. We have a couple of sewing machine service places around here, so I'll bring it in and see what they can do. So now I'm just figuring out where some of these little cut apart pieces are going to live on my layout. And some of these I'm going to end up changing because they don't look quite right. I have a tendency to, if I can't figure out something right away, I'll just move on. And so that's why you see me doing a little bit on one cluster, a little bit on another cluster, leaving it and going doing something else. And then when I come back to it, sometimes I have a better idea. So I tend to kind of work around the page instead of kind of doing all of one cluster and then all of another cluster. So I thought about putting that Hello Sunshine flag up there, but it seemed like it was just too much, so I'm going to take it away eventually. I really like the Good Times layered over the So Cool, so I'm going to leave that one in place. I also like that Heart Ormolu flag up there, the banner triangle. I like it down further, so I'll be moving that. And so things are kind of moving around and finding their homes on my layout here. And I decided to use that beach sticker just to kind of mix it up. Everything was looking the same over there, so the beach sticker adds a different shape because it's an arrow. And I just glued the Ellie Studio tag in there. Gonna glue down the Ormolu pennant. I forgot to outline it, so I'm just gonna quickly outline it. It already had adhesive on it, so I just stuck it to my stamp package because I knew it wouldn't stick permanently there. Putting the Flair badge so that it covers the edges of both of those. Now I'm just kind of layering these all together so that they're going back to where they were, because I liked them as they were before I moved them around, so I'm going to try to get them all to go back where they were. And I'm putting pop dots on the ends of some of these banners, and it just gives them a bit of dimension so that one end of them is flat to the page and the other end is standing up from the page. And you'll see that I just kind of ignored where the hearts were drawn on those strips from the Simple Stories paper, the love, the fun and sun, and the one of the other ones had little hearts drawn on them that overlapped, and I just left them because I planned to go back and put punched hearts where the hearts were on the paper. Added some staples in there using my tiny attacher, and so this layout is pretty much coming together at this point. I have still a little bit more embellishing to do. Still thinking about where I'm going to put a stamp. I end up not using a stamp on this one. I'm trying to get a stamp on there. Had one last look at some of the embellishments that came in the Out on the Town kit, but nothing in there really suited me for this layout, so I left it alone. Now I'm using these sketchbook thickers, which are one of my all-time favorite thickers. They're really, really cool to spell out one beach. And then I'm going to use these Jenny Bolin Skinny Alphas to spell out the rest of my title. I thought about using these basics thickers, but I think that they would take up too much space on my photos, so I wanted to go with the skinny red ones because they will be more of the scale that I want. Dropping down the word fun just for a bit of interest and also to fill the sky a little bit. It's a lot of space in these beach photos, lots of sand, lots of sky, and so I think it looks kind of interesting to layer some stickers over top of the sky. You still get to appreciate that it was a very blue sky, but you still have some room for your title, because otherwise this layout is quite filled up with embellishments, and so if I didn't put my title here, I wasn't sure where on earth I was going to put it, so I just went with it. I'm using the top of a 2, the curvy part of the 2, for a comma, but I lost it. When I cut it, it went flying across the room and I couldn't find it, so I had to cut a second 2. I thought about putting my journaling on this Ellie Studio tag, or this one, but I ended up deciding to journal right on the layout. It ends up being a little bit crooked because I didn't draw lines. Sometimes I'll draw pencil lines just to make sure that I go straight, but I thought I could just follow the pattern of the, I guess it looks like fake punchinella that I used for the mask, but I didn't really do a good job of following it. But it looks okay. It looks pretty straight. So I'm going to outline this final ormolu pennant. Gonna staple it in place with 3 staples and snip off the extra. I'm gonna put that heart brad on in a place that it kind of overlaps all 3 layers so that it's partially on the chevron, partially on the banner, and partially on the background paper. I'm really trying to get a stamp onto this layout. Oh, I did get one. I forgot. I'm moving the stamp over so that the Flair badge doesn't keep me from being able to stamp, so I had to put it in the very corner of my block. And I'm going to stamp it again on the red paper, and I'm also going to, while I'm at it, punch out some hearts from that red paper. That's another piece of Simple Stories that came in the Rock Lobster kit. I'm just cutting out the heart that goes with that stamp, and I'm going to layer the cutout heart on top of the stamp. And here I go using those punches, those punched hearts, to cover over the partial hearts that are sort of already, you can see them from before I cut them into strips when they were on the little journaling card. And so I'm outlining each heart, and then I am gluing it into place with my little 2-way glue pen. And I'm using a 0.05 pen to outline so that I can have a very, very thin line. And I like to do that when I'm outlining tiny things, because otherwise your marker takes up half the shape, and then it's not so pretty. So put another little heart down by the word cool so that all of those banners have, most of those banners have hearts beside them or on them. And now I'm going to have a look at my wood veneer. I saw that Sherri's challenge was to use Flair, cardstock stickers, and wood veneer on a layout. And although I had that in mind when I started this layout, I kind of forgot it until the very end, so I was happy that I remembered to add some wood veneer so that this could be an example. I won't be entering the contest because I'm on the design team, but I did want to play along with Sherri's challenge because it sounded like a lot of fun. So this is for the noon challenge for the Scraptastic 3-year anniversary crop that we're having. And by the time this is posted, that crop will be happening. So go on over to the website and check it out. It is at scraptasticclub.com, and the link will be in the information section to this video. So this video, by the way, is at a slower speed than my previous videos at the request of a couple of different subscribers of mine. So this means that my 2-hour video, my 2-hour layout, instead of taking 15 minutes, is now going to be over 20 minutes long. So I'm not sure how that's going to go over, but I thought I would give it a try just to see how people like it a little bit slower. So I'm still kind of playing around with what wood veneers I'm going to use. Those pink topped packages that I keep my wood veneers in are from the storage section at Michael's, and they all kind of stack on top of one another, and I really, really love them, and I get a lot of questions about where I get them, so that's where I get them. They're just at Michael's. Sometimes they sell out of that size and they just have the larger green ones, but whenever I see the pink ones, I pick up a couple so that I've got them because they're perfect for storing stuff in. So here is the close-up of my layout. You're going to get to see how the letter stickers look and all the banners and all the different parts. There's quite a bit of noise going on upstairs right now, so I'm going to stop narrating right now. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Take care and have a great scrappy week, and I hope that you get a chance to hop on over to the Scraptastic Club website and check out all the challenges and games that are going on this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. So take care. Bye-bye.